But we're not sure, everybody, if President Biden can actually do what it takes and send out stimulus payments. Hopefully he can. So you may be eligible for a crisis relief check from your state and city. As states are finally seeing their budget and going through their budget this year, many lawmakers are announcing their own state stimulus package. So here's some breaking news. Taxpayers in Massachusetts are in line to receive nearly $3 billion in tax refunds this fall. The money comes as the state saw its 2022 revenue surge 20.5%, above the previous year's level, everybody. And now the president of Massachusetts Taxpayers Foundation has actually told reporters this week that Massachusetts has seen unprecedented surplus revenue. A recent analysis found the current surplus is the largest in recent history, far exceeding the $1 billion surplus that the state collected in 2019. This year's extra money caused 62F of state law, and the government is now required to send about $3 billion back to its taxpayers. So while some details are still being hammered out, the funds are set to be distributed to those who had a state income tax liability last year. So under the state law, excess revenue, which includes money from sales, income, and other taxes, has to be credited back to taxpayers. To do that, Massachusetts has settled on issuing payments this fall to those who had an income tax liability for 2021. So according to officials, some legislators, everybody, would have liked to find a method to redistribute the money in a way that would be more beneficial to lower income residents. However, the law states that a 2022 surplus has to be sent back to taxpayers based on how much they paid in income taxes. And not only that, but eligible taxpayers are expected to receive an amount that is equal to around 13% of their 2021 tax liability. That's minus any refundable tax credits they receive, like the Earned Income Tax Credit and the Seniors Credit. Plus, Massachusetts has an income of a tax rate of 5%, and a single person earning $70,000 can expect to pay $3,300 in state income taxes. That is if they receive no refundable credits for 2021. The refund will actually be around $426. So a married couple earning $150,000 could pay up to $7,000 in state income taxes. In that case, they would receive a $1,000 refund as long as they don't have any refundable credits for the year. But so far, refunds will be sent via direct deposit to bank accounts, and if the bank account is closed or if one was not provided by a taxpayer, payment will be made by check. Those who haven't had to file for a 2021 Massachusetts tax return have until the end of this month to do it, and according to state officials, refunds will not be issued for returns until after that time. It's also for Pennsylvania's rent and property tax rebate program that helps older and disabled adults offset the rising cost of housing, everybody. And recently, the program got a huge one-time boost as part of the state budget. Fewer and fewer people receive rent and property tax rebates each year, largely because state taxpayers and lawmakers have not increased the income limits to qualify in more than 15 years. However, everybody, still many people could benefit and are missing out because they don't know about this program. State officials estimate that about a third of eligible Pennsylvanians don't apply each year for this free money. So you should be sure to receive your stimulus check, everybody. Be sure to qualify and be sure to contact your local agency.
$163 million to begin construction on a canal to restore Canal, help me with pronunciation, Martin Pena, that entire ecosystem. We're going to clean up polluted waters and restore mitigation mangrove habitats, and bring back marine life. And you're going to see investments like these increasing significantly in the months ahead. We're investing in Puerto Rico's roads, bridges, public transit, ports, airports, water safety, and high-speed internet. We know that the climate crisis and more extreme weather are going to continue to hit this island and hit the United States overall. And as we rebuild, we have to ensure that we build it to last. We're particularly focused on the power grid. This year, to date, Puerto Rico has received $4 million to help make the power grid more resilient. That number is going to go up. As we conveyed to the governor, I'm ready to deploy and expedite more resources from the Department of Energy and other federal agencies, not just, I don't usually talk this fast, but it looks like it's moving quickly. To help transform the entire system so the Puerto Rican people can get clean, reliable, affordable power they need, and the power stays in homes and hospitals when storms like Fiona strike. That includes mini-grids, which you can begin to deploy soon so you're less dependent on transmission lines across the long distances, and more redundancy when the storms hit. The goal is lower energy bills and more reliable power for Puerto Rican households. Additionally, I've asked the Secretary of Energy, Jennifer Granholm, who's a first-rate person, to lead a supercharged effort across the entire federal government she's going to put in place the Puerto Rican Grid Recovery Modernization Team to bring to bear all the federal resources and technical assistance and additional support for Puerto Rico. And we'll help as you work to repair your grid quickly and drive decisive progress on the game plan for Puerto Rico's community transformation. You know, I also know many people in Puerto Rico have many family friends and friends in Florida. Their hearts are with them right now, and their hearts are with you. Jill and I will be in Florida on Wednesday. As I've made clear, at times like these, our nation comes together, put aside our differences, our political differences, and get to work. We show up when we need to. Because if we lost our home, if we lost a loved one, we hope that people would show up for us as well. I want the people of Puerto Rico to know I'm committed to my entire administration's committed to standing with you every step of the way, as long as it takes. The White House reception honored Hispanic History Month. A U.S. Army chaplain, Captain Priest, proud son of Puerto Rico, offered a prayer for all those who suffered through the hurricane, including Puerto Rico. Here's what he said. He said, "Give us generous hearts that we may continue to use our gifts to support them." Well, the people of Puerto Rico have generous hearts, and that's what they get through this. We're returning generosity, and that's the generous hearts that the rest of the country are going to make sure we continue to provide. But I want to say it again. We are not leaving here as long as I'm president. Everything, I mean the consumer, every single thing that we can do is done. God bless you all, and all of you are hurting. May God protect our troops and all those brave souls that risk their life to help others survive this tragedy. And I usually don't quite talk this fast, but it looks like we made it. Thank you very much. I want to bring up the comment. Do you mind, go? I was up in New York with the mayor and the governor.
And to galvanize billions of dollars in new investments. The challenges facing our hemisphere in the months and years ahead are significant. The climate crisis, food insecurity, economic inequality, corruption, and gender-based violence. When I think about these challenges, I know, and I am certain, they will require new and innovative coalitions.
California's constitutional limit, as set by the voter-approved proposition, is essentially restricts the amount of tax revenue the state can spend while giving lawmakers options on what to do with the leftover funds. This is including giving it back to taxpayers in the form of rebate. The state has only hit the GAN limit twice since the bill passed back in 1979. In unveiling his sweeping $286 billion budget proposal, Gavin Newsom noted that his office projected a surplus of around $2.6 billion over the constitutional limit. As people throughout the country face increasing costs due to global inflation, Gavin Newsom announced an $18 billion inflation relief package to get money to the pockets of Californians. Gavin Newsom said, "We enacted the most comprehensive economic stimulus program in the nation last year, getting billions of dollars in immediate relief to millions of Californians. But many folks are still struggling, especially with high costs due to inflation. So we're leveraging this historic surplus to get money into the pockets of Californians. This inflation relief will help offset the higher costs that Californians are facing right now and provide support to those still recovering from the crisis." Additionally, California's minimum wage is projected to increase to around $15 an hour for all workers on January 1st next year. The accelerated increase is required by provision in the state's existing minimum wage law when inflation exceeds 7%. The crisis has resulted in persistent supply chain disruptions, and labor market frictions have driven inflation to its highest rate in 40 years. The wage increase will benefit millions of people, millions of households that are struggling to keep pace with the highest rise of inflation in decades. For years, the state minimum wage has increased steadily while inflation numbers remain modest. Gavin Newsom created the biggest tax rebate in American history, expanding direct payments to families, with $9 billion in stimulus payments delivered to middle-class Californians and families. What do you think about this, folks? Tell me in the comments down below. Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf that he urged the Republican-led General Assembly to pass legislation that would send $2,000 stimulus checks to many Pennsylvanians, making $80,000 or less. Wolf made a $1.7 billion proposal in February, which includes direct payments, but currently Pennsylvania is just sitting on a $2 billion part of the American Rescue Plan. He told CBS News that the stimulus checks would help with rising inflation. Wolf said in a statement Pennsylvanians should not have to choose between paying for utilities or groceries, childcare or gas. We have the opportunity and the means to ensure they're not struggling. Folks, there's a whole bunch of news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI and SSDI. Continue watching this video because you definitely don't want to miss out on this. Lawmakers in Congress have released a new spending bill that will address inflation. There are several new provisions that have been included into the new version of the Build Back Better package. People across the country feel fuel prices are rising and say that rent is increasing and elections are coming. As inflation and high cost of living spoil the country's economic mood, Biden has received and revived a recent talking point to get across how seriously he takes a country's economic situation. President Biden says reducing the deficit will lower inflation, and cutting government spending isn't really top of the mind for most American voters. Experts say that balancing federal budgets is not going to be enough to motivate Democratic voters to turn out in midterm elections.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was going to say that inflation is hammering Hoosiers, but I have to say, after being in the district, that the inflation in this country is a flat-out disgrace. There's no way to try to blame this or switch this on anything other than this administration's policies. I cannot believe every week at the grocery store and the gas pump. I mean, these aren't just stories. This is the American people, and they are so fed up with it, and they're transmitting that to us as urgently as they can. But I just have to say that I've never seen anything like what's happening in this economy. Inflation at a 40-year peak continues to spiral out of control. Gas in my district went to $5.25 a gallon, which is an absolute disgrace. Increasing prices on gas and everyday necessities are hurting Hoosiers, to say the least. And I can just tell you, increasing prices